What's up everyone, it's your boy Danny Vega, aka Danny V. Thank you so much for coming to the finale of my psoriasis journey. If you haven't seen my 3 previous videos, I would recommend you to go back and watch them because they have so much knowledge in there that can help you. This is the part that we had to re-record, and yes, I do have a different shirt, but don't worry. The re-recording session is really awesome, and then it will switch back to the information that I put in my last video that you guys saw in the preview. So let's get started. So the first question that everyone asks on social media is, what worked for you? What finally cured your psoriasis? And I have to say it was the Humira biologics. Now, I know that goes against what I kind of said. I wanted to go through the natural route, but remember, I was already suffering. By the time I found this natural stuff out, I was 4 to 5 months in already. And yeah, that's a little too late. I was suffering a lot, and 6 months is a long time. A lot of people thought that I would just cave sooner, but I didn't. I really wanted to try to beat this, and finally gave up and went into using the Humira biologics. But the person that changed my mind though was actually my good friend Tracy, and the reason being is because Tracy is a biological scientist, and she really broke down what are biologics, because a lot of us have a lot of misconceptions of it, especially me. I had a huge misconception of what biologics are, and the reason being is because biologics are also known as immune suppressants. The reason being is because they suppress your immune system. If you remember my previous video, your immune system is acting up, and that's why it's attacking your good skin cells, and that's why it's going all crazy. So it suppresses it, so it stops doing that. That's it in a nutshell. I know that's a horrible explanation. You can do more research if you want, but that's just the explanation in a nutshell. Now, the thing is though, when you suppress your immune system, you're more susceptible to bacteria and viruses and getting sick. And so that's why a lot of people stay away from them. Methotrexate is also known as immune suppressant, even though it's an old school chemo and it kills everything pretty much in sight. But that's what it is. So Tracy explained to me, she used an amazing analogy that really worked, and I'm gonna put it in video games terms because I'm a geek. If you ever remember that video of the game with Leroy Jenkins, when he's just like, enough talk, Leroy Jenkins, and everyone's like, Leroy don't, and he starts swinging at everything, and everything just goes into chaos. That pretty much is what methotrexate is. Methotrexate will just kill everything in sight, good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter, just swings. Biologics are more, if you ever play the video game like Assassin's Creed or Hitman, that you have to be more precise and actually, you know, get your target with minimal casualties. That's pretty much what it is, unless you're like my friend Jordan that doesn't follow rules and just does the Leroy Jenkins in those type of games. So she also asked me what other concerns that I have. Now, obviously a lot of concerns for us people that like to do the more holistic route are side effects. And one of the side effects of Humira is actually leukemia. Now, I was really scared about that, and the reason being is because my family is very susceptible to cancer, and especially that I had some family members get treated for cancer. My cousin Anthony, he's only a year older than me, and he had leukemia when we were kids. And now, you know, seeing my cousin like that and him going to a Camp Sunshine in Georgia, and a lot of his friends didn't make it, that really puts things into perspective when you're older and you're like, I don't want to do that. But Tracy also explained to me that biologic side effects sometimes are way less harmful than actual over-the-counter medications. And it blew my mind, because who researches over-the-counter medication side effects? I know there's probably some of you out there, but to the average Joe like me, I don't think so. Like, I never did it. I was like, aspirin, you know, like that's what I'm saying. So that actually put me at ease. And then she told me, you know, she has to take medication that she doesn't really like, because she likes to do the natural route too, but to stay alive. And what I mean is because Tracy was born with asthma, she was always in and out of the hospital. Now, a few years ago, in and out of the hospital ended up like not coming out of the hospital at all. She ended up going into cardiac arrest, brought her heart back, but she lost consciousness, so she fell into a coma. So while she was in the coma though, things just started getting more, you know, gruesome. Things just started failing, and then they told her husband to make funeral arrangements and told him to put the kids in counseling for losing a parent. And it looked pretty brutal. She had to have a tracheostomy because the tube in her was destroying her esophagus, couldn't stabilize her heart, her lungs collapsed, the whole nine. And finally, when she came in and out of consciousness, and finally she came into consciousness, right there, that was already a miracle, according to doctors. Secondly, they told her that she would never read, write, talk, the whole nine. Even driving her car, which is like her favorite thing to do, is like one of her favorite hobbies. And that was it. But she just kept fighting on, and now here she is helping people like me and you with her knowledge, and now she's going for her PhD. She had a third kid. It was wonderful. And so she worked for a program called the AbbVie program. She was a pharmaceutical ambassador for them, and she told me about the program that it helps out, especially because biologics are very expensive. I lost everything due to this condition, all my money, you know, with rent and medical and travel, all this jazz. So that program was to help me out to see if I pay a percentage or whatever, and I got a free ride, which was amazing. So if you're having problems in that route, that's why you don't want to do it. The AbbVie program, guys, it's amazing. Go through there and see if you can do that. Her story really put perspective in my eyes, and especially because Tracy, her belief system is in God, so she believed that, you know, if God created man in the universe, even though medication is man-made, then it's part of it. Even though my perspective is more spirituality, I got it. I was like, okay, medication is part of my reality, then what is my bias against it? And I get it. I really do want to try things naturally. I think it's the best for you. But at the same time, if I'm suffering this greatly, why not? And so I had to let go of my own ego. My ego was in the way. I let it go. And she was like, just try it. See how it works. And I did. And it was the best thing that I've ever done. And the reason why I'm sharing this experience with you as well is because sometimes our ego gets in the way of things, and we have to let go. Sometimes we have to let go of our biases to have things come better. Multiple times in my own experience, I wanted a certain way. I wanted my way. I wanted my way. I wanted my way. And then finally, when I let that go, something comes better out of it. And I don't mean like, oh, something totally different, because sometimes that does suck, even though it's great at the same time. Sometimes something totally different happens. What I mean is sometimes it's the thing that I asked for, but can't come into a different form. So if here we are praying, meditating, thinking, searching, whatever your viewpoint is, sometimes we just have to let go of how it comes to us. And here I am. I wanted perfect health. I wanted healthy ways, and I was rejecting that for a while. I really was. I was putting that to the side for a while because I wanted to do this naturally, and I suffered greatly for it. But once I did that, that's awesome. I'm not saying don't go the natural route. Go the natural route if you're not suffering. If you're suffering like I did and you want to prolong it and continue and try it out, then go for it, man. I lasted 6 months. If you can pass that, then more power to you. But again, I found this natural stuff too late. But if you're not suffering, go ahead and do the natural route and see how it works. And then if it works, then you're better off than I am, and you can help many more people than I can. There's a lot of information in my previous videos. If you're not as severe and you try those things and one of them works for you, definitely record it, definitely put it out there, put it on social media, show how it worked for you. And then that brings it to me, because if I ever need something, it's like, oh, cool, I can go back to that. And I know it definitely worked for somebody else. So all I'm saying is that whatever you decide, it's your choice ultimately, but whatever you decide, sometimes just let go of the ego, and it has to be this way. Sometimes something can come out even better than before. But now, the cream of the crop about this whole psoriasis thing, a lot of people are like, man, how can you be so positive and stuff? And I'm not gonna lie to you, it was really, really hard. And I'm telling you, there were times that I just wanted to end it. I just wanted to go ahead and kill myself because of the pain. It was that bad. But the only reason why I didn't is because of all the seeds that everyone planted in my head, from my instructor, Ryan Robertson, to his brother, which is my master, Rodney Robertson, to all the philosophy from my martial arts that I grew up in, Tony Robbins, to Gary V's, to Wayne Dyer's. Those were the seeds that were implanted. And I'm telling you, man, there are things in our lives, whether it's conditions, whether it's traumas, whatever it is, that makes us want to give up. And I'm telling you right now, it's crazy. And Ryan was the first one to really implant, like, I'm talking about a really big seed in my head. And the reason being is because no matter how many times I want to give up, I couldn't. Ryan was such an inspiration to me. Ryan got hit by a car that basically doctors told him he would never be able to walk again. He had scarring, he has metal in his leg and all this jazz. And he beat the odds, and not only was he a martial arts instructor, but now he's doing stunt work for movies and Hollywood, all the jazz. And he was the one that put that crazy voice in my head, man. That was just like, you can't give up. You can't give up no matter what. So there were times, man, I'm sitting crying because I lost everything. And I really did. With psoriasis, I lost all my money. I lost everything. I had to move back home. I got denied health care here. I had to move to Puerto Rico. So here I am sitting and crying like, if I don't have these things, who am I? So much pain that I really wanted to kill myself. But that voice, man, that voice in my head was like, you can't give up. You got to keep going. And sometimes I hate him for it. Sometimes I hate him for putting that in my head, but it was the greatest gift I could ever receive, because all the other teachers as well that added on top of that seed, man. they were finally growing. Again, I am so grateful for this psoriasis, and I know that sounds crazy, but I'm so grateful because I was an ungrateful piece of shit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really was. Because I didn't have tangible success like money that I wanted to, I would bitch about life so much, not seeing the good in everything. Like, I was nitpicky, and don't get me wrong, it is from my traumas and conditions from how I grew up, and that's for a whole nother story. All that jazz really made me like really nitpicky and, oh, this is not working, and victimhood mentality, that even with all these seeds planted, they weren't getting watered. The only difference between knowledge and wisdom, like in Dan Millman's book, which is one of my favorite books of all time, The Peaceful Warrior, the wisdom is doing. Knowledge is power only with action. And if you just have knowledge and no action, there's no power. And so I had all this knowledge, and they would get watered a little bit, but they weren't really growing. And I knew who I wanted to become. And again, I was so nitpicky with life. I ruined relationships with people. I had plenty of people that loved me, and I butchered those relationships bad. There were plenty of times I had wonderful opportunities, great jobs, and I was just so ungrateful for anything. I was so hard on myself because of the way I grew up that I was like, oh, nothing works. But this psoriasis, because I couldn't eat, because I couldn't sleep, because I couldn't do anything, made me so grateful for life. It is not even funny. It took a sledgehammer and wham, and just broke the mold. And here I am. I had to grow. I had to grow out of it. The storm came by, knocked down those walls, and I could have drowned in the storm, or I could let the storm water the seeds. And boy, it watered the seeds. Let me tell you that much. It watered the seeds that, like I said, I'm so grateful for life. I'm grateful to see. I'm grateful to like even be able to touch my skin. I'm grateful for everything. For my friends, for my families, people in my past, for food, everything. I'm like legit everything that it's beyond what my words can even express to you guys. And because of what happened and because of my gratitude, this is why I'm giving back to you guys. Because I don't want you to give up. I know it may seem sometimes that nobody cares. I care. And it's because I've been through it. I hurt a lot. Again, I had my traumas, my psychological traumas. I have my physical traumas. I had my challenges financially and still do. But it's okay. Everything will work out. It's all a part of the journey. And we're all a part of each other's journey. And I'm here for you. And so this is why I did this video, but also this is why I'm starting my podcast. If you guys, again, have been following me on social media, everyone's like, what happened to the podcast? I was on another project right now, so I put my podcast on hold because I'm serving a dear friend of mine. He really means a lot to me. He's done a lot for me in my life, so I went to pay back, so I put my things on hold. But it's no excuse. Podcast should be happening really soon. Again, you have my podcast logo here, and it's at TDV Live, which stands for The Danny Vega Live, and it's just me giving back to you. It's all education to give back. I would like to be on, obviously, the whole mindfulness and the gratitude and the spirituality, personal development type deal, but it's not just that. I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's all about education and learning, and so am I. And so let's grow together. And again, I'm not this mystic enlightened guru. I'm not here to sell you shit. You know what I mean? I'm not like other speakers. I don't want to sell you shit. For me, this should be free. And this is from the bottom of my heart to just give back to you guys, and let's grow together. I'm a flawed human being, so I know that sometimes these amazing speakers that I'm a fan of, sometimes they don't know their backstory. You know, I know Tony went through a hard time, and I know a couple of these people that went through a hard time, but a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people are like, you don't know what it's like, even though they have. But, so, you got me. I know what it's like because I'm going through it right now with you. And I'm a flawed human being. I have many mistakes, and I curse like a sailor and the whole nine. So here we go. Let's grow together and let's become better. So thank you for watching this video. If you like what you saw, go ahead and subscribe. TDV Live will be up soon on the YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at The Danny Vega. And also, you can follow TDV Live also on Facebook and right now Twitter and Instagram. So thank you for your time. Love you guys. If you need anything, I'm only a DM away. Talk to you soon. Boom.